is probably the best example of what a state interfering into religion can do. When Hitler came to power in Germany, he knew his deception of the German people would never be complete without using religion. And that's exactly what he did. Remember, Hitler learned an awful lot of stuff from a guy named Bernays. And Bernays was the guy who, when Goebbels died, they found the book by Bernays on propaganda, an American author, an American that was with Wilson, in the office of Goebbels. It was on propaganda. They say they learned propaganda. Hitler learned propaganda from the Wilson administration. Well, one of the things the Wilson administration and progressives did at the time was they knew they had to destroy our faith. They knew they needed to get social justice in there. Well, Hitler took it a million miles farther. He set out to draw Christians to him by explaining the seeds in Mein Kampf, where he spoke of the Creator and the universe and of eternal providence. He also states his belief that the Aryan race was created by God and that it would be a sin to dilute it through racial intermixing. He tried to head off church resistance by professing in a speech that Jesus was the one true God. Well, one pastor who's going to be with us tonight has told us of the story about when Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. He met with all of the leading pastors, and he openly tried to reassure them that the position of the church was secure. But he secretly was setting out to silence them. One of the men in the room was Martin Niemöller. Now, he wasn't buying it at all. He wasn't buying it, and he pushed his way to the front of the pastors. Remember, this was a spooky dude. You didn't go after this guy. He did. He went and he faced Hitler right nose to nose. And Niemöller told him, "Our concern here, Herr Hitler, is not for the church. Jesus Christ will take care of the church. Our concern is for the soul of our nation." Well, no one else had the guts to back him up. Hitler just smiled and said, "You can leave the soul of Germany to me." Now, from that Sunday on, Gestapo agents sat in the pews and wrote down every word Niemöller said. The pastor was imprisoned in the concentration camp, where he narrowly escaped his execution. Eventually, both through deception and intimidation, church and state merged to the point where the pictures of Hitler rested on the altars of the churches throughout Germany. They took the crosses down and put him up. The state had infiltrated and infected the church, not the other way around. I want to make it very, very clear. When I say that you have to find God, I am not saying that we find a state religion, and I am not saying that you mix the state with religion. I'm saying you find your principles. Teach man correct principles. That your relationship is with God, not the state. The state comes after this one. Let your principles be your guide on how to vote, not how to rule, or not how to control or manipulate people. I'll leave that to the progressives. Well, many in Germany couldn't or wouldn't believe the truth, that their faith had become evil. It had been co-opted by an evil and ruthless dictator. Others who did notice wouldn't cooperate, and they were arrested. It got much, much worse. Not only were there arrests of clergy, but incarceration in concentration camps, murders of religious opponents of the regime, physical assaults on clergymen ignored by the police. So remember, it's almost like nudging. You nudge and then you shove. And you're going to, the farther you go, if you don't say something at the beginning, then you're watching somebody being beaten in the streets and you're like, gosh, yeah, I don't want that to happen to me. And that's what happened. They should have said something at that first meeting, and they didn't. Then there were seizures of church property, including orphanages and hospitals and monasteries and schools. Anything with a religious insignia was removed, and the teachers were fired. Here's a church.